Hey guys, welcome back to DIY Chris. This will be the official first episode of the all the Commodore 64s that I bought on the auction, because, you know, as you guys know, I had the video where I repaired and restored the low serial number Commodore, the one with the silver sticker, because I got impatient and I wanted to do that one first. So before I even basically tested all of these. So after testing all of them, we verified that they are all in fact working. Well, not all, but we verified which ones work. Okay, let me say it that way. Makes more sense. So this is one that we identified as working. So since it boots, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take it apart. We're going to clean everything. Okay, so this is going to be like a reverse video. We're going to clean everything. We're going to retrobrite the case. We're going to retrobrite the keys. So cleaning and retrobriting, that's what we're doing first. So we're going to remove this sticker, since it's coming off no matter what. And this one actually doesn't look like it's going to need a whole lot of retrobriting. Alright, we already know that this one boots. Once we get the cleaning process all finished, we'll put it back together, and then we will run through some tests using the diagnostics harness and some other tools to verify that all of this stuff works. Yep, I know, I'm avoiding the warranty. Sorry, computer bargain store. But, yeah, this needs to happen. Oh, what was on the bottom of this? Well, this sticker is gone. For good. Alright, so here we go. First, I'm going to undo these screws here. This is the same as the Commodore 64. There were 3 screws holding the case together. So, and this one is serial number HB1040559. Alright, so let's turn this back around. And we dropped one of the screws right here. And let's lift and disconnect the LED. And here's the top of the case. So this is one of the main differences in the way the cases are designed for the C64Cs and the C64s. The C64Cs, the keyboard actually mounts to the bottom of the case, so the top of the case is free to move once you take the 3 screws out, lift it up and away, and disconnect the LED. The LED is held in by these 2 tabs that we can kind of pry to the side to get the LED to come out. And then we can thoroughly clean this case and set it in a bath of Retrobrite. Okay, but before we do that, let's go ahead and grab this keyboard out of here. So, let's do, there's 1 screw at the top on the right, 1 screw at the top on the left, and this is much more efficient to get this keyboard out than it was previously. So 2 screws versus, what was it, 8 screws before? So they use the same interface. Keyboard interface just plugs in right here. Okay, so now we have the keyboard. And we have a heat shield. I say heat shield because it serves 2 functions. 1, it ties into the ground plane of the board, and 2, it touches the CPUs so that the heat is drawn away and dispersed throughout the shield, which is kind of cool. So then there's a screw here. Oh, this other screw fell out, and this. Alright, so let's keep tabs here. These are the case screws. This is a motherboard screw. Motherboard to case screw. And these are the same length. I wasn't sure if I remembered it correctly, so I just wanted to be sure. Better to be sure. Alright, and then we have a screw here. And looks like we have one more here, here, and here. So once I get all these screws out, I'm going to lift the shield up and out of the way. And then we'll leave all these screws laying with the shield so that we don't lose them. Of course, yeah. Okay, so you know what I'll do is I'll drop in this screw over here and this screw over here. This way we'll keep all the screws together. I'll just put that on the side over here. Alright, so as you can see, we now have access to the board, which, as you can tell, is a lot smaller than the other Commodore 64 boards. And this is indeed a 250-469. I think this is one of the last boards that was made for the Commodore 64 series. We have the 6526. This is the CIA chip. Here's the other CIA, the 6526. This, I think, is the VIC. Yep, it's an R4. We probably have the SID here, which is a 8580. So this is the later later SID chip. And then we have 8500 here. This replaced the 6510 CPU. And then we have this, which is a combination of a whole bunch of logic circuits, which includes the PLA. So these I don't think went bad as much as the other ones used to. But let's go ahead and pull this out. And you have to be careful because this, they actually made the holes now part of the case. So, and then this also, this RF shield, is now not soldered on anymore. It's literally just laying on the bottom. So now what we can do is just put that here, like that. And we'll just put that to the side, along with the other shield. And we have our bottom case with a piece of broken plastic. Don't know where that went, but we don't care about that. Alright, so right away I'm seeing here that we're missing 2 feet. So what we want to do is we want to probably remove the other 2 feet as well. And get replacement feet. Let's see if I can do this. This may be something we'll do later. Oh, never mind, I got it. And then here's the adhesive for that. Mainly just want to try to get these cleaned up as quickly as I can because I still have chemical Retrobrite outside from retrobriting the other 64 that I was working on. So I'd like to try and utilize what I have instead of wasting all that hydrogen peroxide and OxyClean. The hydrogen peroxide is starting to come tougher to come by. All this COVID stuff going on. went to Walmart the other day to try and buy some peroxide. And it was the first time I had bought any since the pandemic. And what happened was, and without realizing, the cashier, I had 2 bottles of peroxide. The cashier only bagged one of them. And when I got home, and I didn't know this, right? I wasn't paying attention because I was on the phone. So when I got home, I I unpacked everything and noticed that I only had 1 bottle of peroxide. So I was like, well, what the hell? I bought 2. Where did the other one go? So I started looking in my car, and then I finally, it dawned on me. I'm like, what if, did I get charged for 2? Or did I get charged for 1? So then I looked on my receipt, and I saw that she voided out one of the hydrogen peroxides because she scanned both of them. So once she, voided it out, obviously she set it to the side. This I wasn't paying attention to, but oh well. That's what happens. Snooze, you lose, right? So, what we're going to do now is get some Goo Gone and get rid of these stickers. And after that, we're going to Windex it all. Going to get a real good clean going. And then do the retrobriting. Right. Thank you for Goo Gone. What's that? What warranty void sticker? Where's this thing you speak of? Okay, step number 2. Windex. Always surprises me how much Windex actually cleans up. Time for the magic eraser. Now, this is, again, just going to get rid of any kind of scuffs that Windex couldn't get rid of. Oh, magic. You can do it. This is going to take some effort. In there. Oh, God. So close. Still see it. Faintly. Alright. Why did you have to put it on both sides? I'm pretty sure I made that lighter. Why must you write it on both sides? Isn't it enough to have it on one side? Haven't you ever heard of a freaking sticker? Why? Oh man. Almost there. Alright. Then there's, oh, easy. It's mostly just yellowing down here. Yeah. I'm gonna say that takes care of all the scuffs on the bottom case. And then, look at this shit. God damn. Really? Alright. First, let's use our Windex and wipe this thing down. I'm going to have to get a toothbrush to get in there. Yeah, I'm going to rinse that out in a second. First, let's get to work on this. This is some bad stuff right here. Let's see what the magic eraser can do. Freaking purchase 7/4/27. So that's April 27th of 2007 for $150. I don't know if these things actually hold up value. I don't know, with inflation and everything, I think maybe they need to increase it a little. This. Alright. You can still faintly see the where the Sharpie was, because it's the case yellowing. The actual like ink was removed with the magic eraser, but the case yellowing is still there, so you can kind of see where the text was. So, but once we do the retrobriting, that'll go away. And now I'm just looking for more scuffs that we need to clean up. I think we have everything. So the only thing I want to do now is remove this LED. So I'm going to just, without breaking it, maybe. There we go. Alright, so this and this is now going outside. And when we get back, we're going to pop the keys off of this so we can also retrobrite those keys. Let's go ahead and pop these off. So these came off surprisingly easy. I've never restored a 64C keyboard before, so I don't know if that is, common amongst these keyboards, that these keys are not as tight as the regular Commodore 64s, the earlier models, or if it's just the one that I'm working on right now. So the other thing I've noticed is that the way that the space bar goes on is a little different. So on the regular 64 C64s, the space bar, this little retaining bar here that keeps the space bar, straight, this slid in this way, but on this keyboard it pulls straight up, and then likely will also go straight down, which will make it easier to put the key back. So that's cool. So now we've got all the keys out, we can turn this thing around. We can remove the plastic. Tape. And let's go ahead and take out all of these screws. my soldering iron's still warm. So once I got the screws out, I'm going to desolder the shift lock key. And just to keep a timetable to myself, I put those plastic pieces that got case top and case bottom, I put those into the Retrobrite bath at about 3 o'clock. No, there they are. So I'm going to grab this. Oh. Happening here. Well, it's different. This is definitely different. Trying to figure it out. So this, they took this wire, they made a loop around, and then basically put it on top of this pin and soldered it in. So we're going to have to pull up on this as we... There. Alright, so we have a different shift lock key than before. And also, the matrix looks different. Contacts are definitely different. So we'll still clean this with some contact cleaner. Let's go ahead and dump these out. And let's see if this still, yep, still pushes up. Okay, so let's remember this. The shift lock key, the pins are toward the toward the right of the keyboard. Okay, toward the right. So the pins are over here. They're facing this direction. Okay, so let's take this out, and we're gonna take this and we're gonna rinse it off. Soap and toothbrush. Get that good cleaning going there. But before we do anything else, we are going to scrub those keys a little bit with a toothbrush and some soapy water. So I'm going to go ahead and I have my water sitting underneath the table. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these in there so they can soak. Not really worried about the springs, they actually look fine. So what I'm going to do is, these don't actually look as dirty as some of the other keys I've seen. So, still going to scrub them. What I'll do here, just move this over. Should have grabbed a smaller bucket of water. Yeah, this is pretty big. This takes up a lot of space. Alright, and here we go. One key at a time. Scrubbing. Alright. So I'm going to take these keys and basically let them sit in the soapy water probably another 10 minutes or so Take those over somewhere else, and then also going to go wash this off. Actually, yeah, we're not going to do that. Gotta go wash that off, and then yeah, and we'll be back to continue. Alright, so what are we going to do now? We are going to spray some contact cleaner on this. And then we're going to wipe it down. Alright, nice and shiny. Ooh. Okay. So, next part is we need to put the plungers back into the plastic. That plastic, by the way, cleaned up real nice. So we can go ahead, and here are the plungers. They're all dry now. So I'm going to go ahead and take those out of here. And we're going to take this, place it upside down. And then we start putting the plungers in. So what do we say about these? We said that they had to go in this direction, correct? So to the right. Yes. So we'll take this, and from the top, I'm going to slide it in. Okay. Takes care of the caps lock, or shift lock. Now we're going to take this guy, flip it over, and set it. Okay. Let's grab our bucket, have our screws in. And it definitely helps to have like a little tub or bucket around to put all your little pieces in, because otherwise what I was doing before is I was just laying everything on the table, and it was just, you know, every now and then I'd lose things because it just fall on the ground without me knowing, because I was moving something around. Anyways, you know what? Let's go to a time lapse. And I swear, you know, I thought I put this screwdriver on the charger, but turns out I plugged it in, but the other end of the USB cable wasn't plugged into anything. So, yeah, that didn't charge. So, if you look really close, you can see that this is how they fastened these wires this time. Instead of having the shift lock key have a pad where they could push the wire through and solder on the other side, they just have pins sticking out. And I guess to make sure that these don't accidentally get pulled loose by some force that's inside somewhere in the case, like a little elf pulling on the wire or something, they decided to make this a loop so that they can kind of put it over the pin and then solder it in place. So, yeah. So that's what we'll do, is we'll put them back exactly how they were, because we want to stay authentic. Now what am I doing? Alright. Here. This will make this a little easier on my fingers. So we just need to make sure that, first of all, I need to oil these or something, grease them. They just seem to not want to work. Right, our shift lock key is back together where it needs to be. This is pretty much done. Alright, so I know this case wasn't super yellow to begin with, but I think that did a pretty good job here. Definitely the writing you can't see anymore. That's all gone. The magic eraser took care of most of it, and then the Retrobrite made it nice and white again. So yeah, nice 64C case. Should put a computer in it. Let's do that. Let's put our motherboard in here. So I laid in the shield, and now we're going to try to attempt to wiggle this board in here. Huh. Simple. Love it when things are simple like this. Alright. So now, we've got... Well, we should have... we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws. Oh, I'm an idiot. So, remember how I said we're going to keep all these screws together that are in this shield, this heat sort of RF shield. It's an RF shield. It's a heat sink for the chips. And when we're talking about which ones produce the most heat here, that would be the SID, the VIC, and the processor. So now, I'm just going to put this down, just like that. I'm not going to put new thermal paste on just yet because, like I said, we're still going to do some more troubleshooting with this thing, make sure that everything is working right. So I'm going to wait to put new thermal paste on until we know for sure that we're not going to take this thing apart again. The main reason why I'm actually putting this back together now is because I don't want to lose any of the pieces. Because if you guys saw the rest of my garage, workshop, man cave, whatever you want to call it, you would understand why I need to keep things together as much as possible. Ugh. And then when we finish this, like for good, after we do our diagnostics, we will go ahead and clean this shield really well so that it doesn't look so ugly. I'm going to give it a quick wipe down now though, because it is pretty dusty. See that? I'm obviously not going to spray any Windex on it. Alright, so the board is back in. We can mount the keyboard. That should be fun. Let's plug it in. And then it just kind of lines up, sits underneath these. And basically sits right here. And then we should have 2 screws. And these are machine screws, not plastic screws. You'll see, if you look, the thread on these is much finer. So don't try to accidentally put a case screw in here, because it won't work. And even if you do start to get it in, it's either going to mess up the threads on the case screws, or it's going to mess up the threads on the metal brackets that the keyboard gets screwed into. In either case, you don't want to screw up the threads in either direction. Okay, there's the keyboard back on. We could put the light back in. I don't remember which way it was in here, but that doesn't matter because it just doesn't matter. Right, now this is keyed, but not on here. I don't remember which way that went, so we could try guessing. It's either going to turn on or not, right? So let's grab our power connector. In. And on, and look at that. Perfect. Okay. Let's put on our top case. Alright, look at that. Now all we're waiting for are the keys to finish. Let's go ahead and put those screws back in. And I think I'm an idiot, because I wonder if there were never supposed to be feet in the back. I'm going to have to look at the other 64Cs I have and see what they look like. The feet situation. Okay. Good. So now all we're waiting for are the keys. Okay. So it seems that the C60 or the 64Cs did not have feet in the back. I suppose that Commodore figured, okay, well, we'll pretend that there are feet here, save some cost, because as long as we've got feet in the front, they will prevent the unit from sliding. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting in new feet, and yes, they're black, but they are the exact height that we need to make sure this thing doesn't slide around. So let's put these springs back on. And that will be probably the last thing I'll do today. Check on the keys in a bit. I may have to actually bring them inside and then start them over again tomorrow. we go. Springs are back. So no matter what, if we want to fully refurbish this system, we're going to have to break it down again. So that is that. We are not going to do that right now. Right now we're just going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to turn you guys off for a second while I clean up this mess. And then when I come back, we're going to put keys back on. Alright? I'll see you guys in a minute. Hey guys, so yeah, these keys finally finished retrobriting. So honestly, what I had to do, because my usual method, what I do is I take the keys and you know, I take them, I put them in that soapy water solution, and that usually cleans them really well. And then after that, I dry them, wipe them down, and then I put them in a mixture of hydrogen peroxide, OxyClean, and some really hot water. Let them sit for a few hours, and usually the yellowing starts to go away. I do that for the brown keys. I have not tried that on the white keys, except for when I just tried it just now. So, well, not just now, but several hours ago. So now, what we need to do is, so now I checked that, like, every hour, and the yellow was just not going away at all. The keys would just remain the same yellowed color that they were. So I decided to try a different process, which in the past I did it once to one of the brown keyboards, and it did not turn out really good at all. It turned out really bad. All of the Petsky art at the front of the keys wiped off. All of the keys started turning this weird grayish color. So do not ever use this method on brown keys. It'll mess up your keys, and you'll be sorry that you did. So, but for these, because they're white, I took a chance, and I was hoping that the Petsky art is much like the other stuff that's printed on these keys. And to my surprise, it was great. So what I ended up doing was I used the Cream Developer 40 that you pick up at the salon. Any hair salon should have this, and I have a link down in the description for you can buy it on Amazon as well. But I use that, and I use a brush, and I just brush all the keys with it. Make sure you wear gloves, otherwise this stuff will start to burn your hands. So I brushed all the keys with it. And then I set up a cardboard box, wrapped it in aluminum foil, and I have this really high-powered UV light that I just kind of set over the box, and I let that set for about 15 hours over those keys. And after that, the keys actually look just incredible. So we're going to go ahead and put the keys back on the keyboard and actually finish this up. So I'm going to start with the F1, or the function keys. Now these were not very yellowed, and after I actually did not expose these to the UV light. These are just bathed in the peroxide OxyClean solution, so either way they look great. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the keys on. We'll do a time lapse, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Right, there it is. I think it turned out really good. Like, here's the close-up of the keys. Look at them. You know, it may not be 100% perfect, but it is definitely a big improvement. So I don't know if you guys remember what this looked like before, but here's a picture for your viewing pleasure. And just compare those, and you'll see that this actually made a big difference, which is great. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is we actually haven't done any troubleshooting on this thing because, number one, it boots just fine, but I think we've determined that the sound does not work on this. So what we're going to have to actually do now, even though we just got finished putting it all back together, we're going to have to take the bottom case off, which should be pretty simple. We just take out these 3 screws here, okay, 1, 2, and 3, take those out, and then once we do, this will just turn it around, this will lift off, we'll take the 2 screws out that hold the keyboard in place, and take off the shield around the board, and then probably just take out that SID and put another one in, and see if that fixes the problem. If not, we'll need to do some more digging and figure out what's actually going on. So, and that'll be in the next episode. So this is it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. There's quite a bit of content in this video. I hope it's not too long. I hope it's not too boring. I know, you know, I mean, there's always the option to skip through some of the parts, so that's cool too. But in either case, if you were just here to watch a video of some guy on the internet restoring a Commodore 64C, then you're in luck, because that's exactly what this was. So if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If not, give me a thumbs down. Don't forget to click subscribe, and yeah, to subscribe to my channel, and click the bell for notifications to be the first to know about new videos that get posted. I will see you guys next time.